It's felt like carnage in the market for a lot of people lately, but the truth is Bitcoin hasn't actually done that much. We topped out at about $104,000. Right now it's sitting at 96. It's got that really good support level down here at about 91, 92 that we've still managed to hold on to, which means that we're just kind of trading sideways, and that's kind of the main thing that I said was probably our most likely situation in one of the most recent videos. Bitcoin clearly is in a little bit of consolidation. We've targeted the highs very well, which does mean that the lows could be next. And I think what's really interesting is, this whole Bitcoin dominance thing, it's very much like Mother Nature, everybody and their grandmothers were running laps around themselves, celebrating their massive altcoin gains. And I understand why. I myself have made quite a nice profit. I nearly doubled my money on a little trade that I took on Link just yesterday. I'll show it to you later on in this video if I can. And obviously, I made that trade on Bybit. Those of you that want to trade kind of where I am, you're going to get an extra 30K to trade with up to on Bybit when you start trading, when you deposit and start trading on Bybit. Blowfin gives you even more aggressive offers, and that's all going to be after you start trading. So if you want free capital to trade with, that's absolutely sick. But this thing about Bitcoin dominance and Mother Nature is that everybody's going to be super excited about kind of altcoins moving up in these kind of market moves. But if the time's not quite there, then Bitcoin dominance will steal all of those gains back from you. And what we've seen as a result is, altcoins are down pretty low compared to some of the highs that they've been close to recently, right? If we take a look at this one right here on Solana, Solana's now down by kind of 22% in about 2.5 weeks since it managed to top out. Binance Coin did really well. It managed to get all the way up to $800, and now it's down 15% in about 8 days. We've got XRP actually still holding up pretty well, only down by about 17% from its high a week ago, or down by 35 to its low. And so things are still fine, but a lot of the gains have been given back. And and I'm not surprised by that. I think at this stage in the market, what we're seeing, and you're going to see this reflected with, other markets as well, like the S&P 500 here. Granted, this was literally an all-time high if you just asked this question a week ago, but the S&P 500 has, kind of moved down a little bit, and that's definitely coincided with this Bitcoin drop. So I think we're just kind of broadly seeing a little bit of weakness across the markets. And naturally, when that happens, that little bit of weakness in the markets, broadly speaking, gets reflected quite seriously in the altcoin market, okay? And the reason that we see that, obviously, and we've covered this at length a million times. Those of you that are subscribed, you're going to know this so well. One of the biggest reasons that this happens is, just like Bitcoin, a lot of people buy altcoins because they don't really know what they're doing. They don't know why they're buying the coin. They don't know what the coin is made for, what's particularly special about it. And they're only buying it because the guy before them is making money off it. And I'm not one to knock that. That's as good a reason as any, to buy a coin in crypto, right? So, I don't think that that's necessarily stupid in and of itself. But what you need to understand, and what we talk about a lot on this YouTube channel, the perspective that you never really hear outside of this YouTube channel, is going to be that these same coins are going to immediately become significantly more unattractive. They're going to immediately become significantly less attractive to hold when the market stops moving up, okay? If the only reason that you're buying a coin is because you're anticipating that it's going to go up in value, well, if it doesn't go up in value, and instead if the market starts reversing downwards, like, the S&P 500 right here, and then a little bit on Bitcoin, and then a little bit on Ethereum, right? Ethereum from its high down to its current price down by about 11%, down to its low down by about 14%. When you're seeing this kind of volatility in the bigger assets, then yeah, of course, you're going to start dropping shit coins like Doge, which is down by 18%, for example, a little bit more, right? So that's what we're seeing right now in the altcoin market. I don't think that it's anything particularly extreme. I don't think that it's anything scary. In fact, this is all completely normal behavior for the markets. If we're seeing a little bit of weakness, broadly speaking, in traditional finance, we're going to be expecting that weakness to trickle down and be a little bit more intense for altcoins. The question is, what's going to be happening from here? And, if Bitcoin is still in this, and I said that we're kind of in this kind of horizontal channel that kind of spans between these two price levels, 92 and 100. But, to be honest, we could also be in, more of a kind kind of vertical accumulation that we've kind of seen a lot of recently. So, in this case, it probably looks something a little bit closer to this right here, probably, obviously with a couple of deviations outside of this range here, where you get some more extreme wicks and candles, but for the most part, you're staying kind of quite nicely coiled up in this particular range. And it's neither here nor there. I'm not saying that this is going to be the most clear form of evidence for anything in particular in the market, but at the moment, it's exactly what's been working. I mean, and you can see this. Pardon me. You can see this on so many different time frames. If I just show this to you on a different time frame right here, you got this right here. Again with another kind of little bit of vertical accumulation. If we go ahead and duplicate that, I can go ahead and literally just put that over here, and again we're looking at something very, very similar, right? Where Bitcoin just kind of vertically, climbs a little bit higher, a little bit slowly, basically, when it's supposed to be, doing something like this, instead it ends up doing something a little bit like that, right? Or at the very least, we at least go sideways, but no, Bitcoin doesn't want to do that. Bitcoin wants to kind of slowly inch higher and then continue to pop, right? So that could still be happening. Is it possible that that's going to be happening at the $100,000 price level? Honestly, I don't know. It's really not even something I want to speculate on. But I'll tell you what's interesting is that, sentiment is pretty torn apart right now, right? I mean, if you look at people, on both sides of the aisle, so to speak here, you're getting people that are, really positioning themselves for some significantly lower price targets. I want to see if I can find you any right now on Twitter. But it looks like all of these very recent tweets are not talking about it. This is slightly older news, from a couple of hours ago, and obviously Twitter is just, in chronological order. But you're going to be seeing a lot of people right now, talking about how actually, we're returning back down to this, kind of $60,000 price range. And, I was talking about this before it was cool. Now everybody is talking about it, and that doesn't exactly make me feel confident that I'm on the right side of history here. If everybody else is starting to agree with that same kind of analysis, then I'm gonna, just consider if there are any holes that I should, kind of be poking in it. But, this range, I'm pretty damn bullish on, right? This kind of general box it's a big range, but it spans from about 67 to about 72. This is a range that I'm pretty interested in for the market. I could definitely, bring this down a little bit, because I think most of the range that's important is going to be kind of here. This was Bitcoin's previous all-time high from 2021. We saw a lot of consolidation, some rejections here. Like I said, if you just kind of expand the box, you're getting a lot of rejections in this zone, a lot of support as well. Look at this big bounce that actually triggered the rally to the all-time high. And this is still going to be a very natural place for Bitcoin to fall down to if it does trigger a bigger drop, right? If we throw a Fibonacci retracement, we've got that 618 golden pocket here, lining up perfectly with the bottom of my support zone. If I go back to drawing this box the same way I did a couple of minutes ago, again, I mean, it's just absolutely perfect how the levels line up so well. Take a look at this if I can. I can't demonstrate that to you, but I think it really, really tells us a lot. The fact that we're getting that golden pocket kind of lining up with the exact same price zone as well. If we do take a look at anything else to potentially give us an indication of where a drop might end up, I just don't see anything in between. Obviously Bitcoin didn't really find resistance on the way up, and so you're not going to be expecting support on the way back down because you have none. Even on the super short-term time frames like the 1 hour, at best it's just going to be, weak, light levels of support. So, so far it's been working for the market. Let's give credit where it's due. It's been about 30 days, since Bitcoin managed to pop above 85K, and, we're still holding pretty steady at 96. And that's kind of ultimately my point, right? There's clearly a lot of emotion in the market right now. There are a lot of people feeling a lot of different ways about what's going on in the market, and that's normal. That's actually quite understandable, and that's fine. But what I think a lot of people are just completely missing is the facts, just the raw, just the raw data that's in front of you, which says that, Bitcoin has now spent, basically a month in vertical accumulation at the $100,000 price level, while everybody else is losing their minds a little bit. I mean, it's worth looking back at how Bitcoin behaved during previous market cycles when it managed to break, price levels basically, 10 times smaller than this, 100 times smaller than this. And I can show that to you pretty easily, right? I mean, if we just throw this on the logarithmic scale, let's drop a couple of lines, right? So the first line we're going to put down is going to be right here at about $100,000. Then we're going to be putting another line down at about $10,000. This was, obviously 10 times smaller than where we are right now. So we just put a line right here at $10,000. And then let's go ahead and grab that $1,000 level and do the same thing. And what we're going to see is kind of every time Bitcoin has managed to break above, levels that are within this multiple, it went strangely. Let's just put it that way. I mean, here's the first time that we did it with 1,000. By the way, while we're here, let's just go back and look at $100 because why not? Let's just cover all bases because it's just so consistent. It's happened every time. Fuck it, we'll go back. We'll go back even further. Look at this. We're at the $10 mark here. $10 really set Bitcoin, through the ringer a little bit. Well, let's go. We're here now. Fuck it, why not? It's happened in all cases. Look, the first time when Bitcoin hit $1, it was a pretty fierce rejection. I mean, in terms of percent. And by the way, back in 2011 here, so that's worth noting. But it took about 50 days. It dropped by about 50%, and then it went up by 5,000%. Okay, and then it hit kind of $30 or whatever. When it broke the $10 mark, it kind of did the same thing, right? It got significantly higher than the $10 mark. In this case, like a few times higher. So, not quite the same as what we're in right now. But you got to bear in mind the market cap back down here. I mean, this was a tiny asset. Very, very easy to move it back then. But what happens is it gets above the $10 mark, it comes back down, it kind of consolidates, it fluctuates, whatever, it fluctuates at the level, not really sure what it wants to do, and then bam, it's off, and it pulls off the next 10x. Now, at the next 10x here at $100, again, we're seeing price action very, very similar. At the very beginning, you're coming in very hot with a lot of strength, that really starts to taper off, you start consolidating, it gets boring, and then bam, you pop again, and you're off to the next 10x. Here's the next 10x over here. We never managed to break it. If we come back to the point in time where we did manage to break it, this is here in 2016, 2017, you can see how the market dealt with it here. Originally, again, coming in very hot with a lot of kind of explosive price action, this time above that level by about 15%, which is a lot closer to reality today. You get that pullback, you get that subsequent test again, you're still consolidating for the most part in this range though, and then bam, you're off. So again, it takes some time, right? On this occasion, it took about 120 days to kind of get out of this price zone. Back to the $10,000 price range here. Obviously, this is going to be the most recent example that we've got on this chart. And if we go ahead, I can't show this to you. Let me take this on a different chart because we don't have the price history on that chart for me to show it to you. But if we go back and we put a line, a vertical line over at the $10,000 price level, I'll show it to you on this chart right here. Oh yeah, we're already there. So this is what happened when Bitcoin broke the $10,000 level for the first time. So again, originally coming in with a lot of heat, getting a nice big pullback, you're just kind of messing around, going sideways for a little bit, recovering and then not recovering, and then bam, we're off from there, right? And then obviously the rest was history. So, again, from kind of high to low, that's going to be a 21% move. And this one was very quick. This one resolved in about 3 days. But, now if we bring it over to the present day, and we kind of take a look at what's been going on over here, clearly we're doing something which, we've seen before, right? I mean, if we take this $100,000 price level here, we're hitting it with a little bit of strength. We're coming back in with a little bit more strength and setting it even higher high. Now we're just kind of messing about, potentially folding down a little bit. I mean, it's the exact same struggle that Bitcoin has pulled off every single time it's pulled off this 10x. Honestly, it would be it would be very appropriate if Bitcoin did this again, if Bitcoin ever manages to reach $1 million, right? I mean, I think that would be only what makes sense given that this has happened every single time before, and also just given the fact that it's a major psychological barrier to be breaking, right? I mean, Bitcoin at $100,000 is just fucking crazy, but then again, so was Bitcoin at 10,000 or 1,000 or 100, right? So because back then we used to compare Bitcoin to the dollar, right? Like back then it used to be, oh my God, look at Bitcoin being so expensive compared to the dollar being so cheap, right? That used to be the narrative because it was a way more casual. Honestly, it was so much nicer than it is right now. I miss those times so much more because you actually had people that genuinely cared about the space back then. Now it's just now it's very different. But if we do take a look at the chart itself, I think what's very, very clear is that this market has clearly slowed down in the same kind of fashion that it always does before it explodes. And again, that's what I'm talking about. When I'm seeing people going all over the place, Bitcoin's dominant. I mean, look at how extreme Bitcoin's dominance move was, right? I mean, this obviously took a lot of people off guard. It didn't actually do that much damage. I think that's a big thing that's worth pointing out. It didn't actually do that much damage, but for Bitcoin's dominance to return back up to where it was, I think that's definitely going to start causing some issues. And we've seen this before, by the way. We've seen these kind of things with Bitcoin's dominance before. If we take a look at this price action here, we actually managed to get up to the exact same price level. Look at this right here, and then this over here, more kind of closer to present day. We came all the way back down to this range, and we actually bounced off it a few times, and then we got significantly higher, right? So if history is going to rhyme like that, that literally means sideways here and then up like that. And if this happens, that's like, another few months of really, really strong upside in the altcoin market, right? So this doesn't, this is not a bad thing at all. This is the thing. It's like, everything that we're seeing in this market, really, it's all a blessing. It's just so tradable right now. It's such a fertile trading environment. It's so good. We knew this was coming for a long time, and now it's here, and it's been here for a long time. Those of you that have got the free cash strapped in from these exchanges are doing very, very well because you can trade with that money and withdraw any of the profits that you make as well, which is absolutely sick. There's also going to be a link to a free $500 position on Bybit somewhere here. Check that link out if you're not already registered to Bybit, because that's just, like I said, it's a free $500 position. You can throw it anywhere you like and just withdraw the profits from it, which is super, super cool. But, looking back at this chart here, there's clearly, a pullback here after, quite an extreme rally. Could it be the case that this is, a new lower high and it's actually going to be trending down, and, this is the beginning of the alt season and everything? Because that was the narrative literally like a week ago. Now the narrative is that the entire fucking bull market is over. Is it the case that this is going to keep dropping down? Obviously it's potential, there's potential for that to happen. Personally, I absolutely do not think that that's what we're seeing, but I think that there are some good reasons that some people are going to be disagreeing with me there, which is totally fine. Me personally, I'm anticipating that this is going to get back up to that high and sweep it, because I think that Bitcoin, every time there's a drop, or every time there's an extreme upward price move, especially in the early stages of the bull market, which I still believe we're in, Bitcoin does take its dominance up with it. Obviously this is not to say that things are going to be bad. I just think that we're in, a significantly longer bull market than people are expecting. The last bull market that we had, was basically not even real. It didn't even, complete. We set the all-time high at 20K, and then we only managed to, pull a 3.5x above it, which, sure, whatever, you could say that that's impressive, but it's small by, quite a large order of magnitude compared to, the kind of, gains that we've seen previously when Bitcoin's broken its all-time highs. There's that. There's also just the fact that, it was cut short by, the FTX drama as well. I mean, to be fair, that was, quite a bit later on, but, you know, where, you know, the stock market recovered, you know, crypto didn't because of all of that, you know, contagion effect and everything that we saw. So, you know, there's a lot that made the previous month, you know, and I just feel like there's going to be a lot that's kind of ready, spring loaded here for this thing to pop. The fact that, and I'll tell you what, the number one reason that I feel so confident about this is the fact that, you know, things were, you know, basically amazing, you know, a week ago, you know, and now there's a little bit of blood in the Bitcoin, you know, in the altcoin market. There's a little bit of blood against the Bitcoin pairs right now, you know, and some alts are against the dollar as well, you know, that they're not doing so well, you know, and because of that, it just seems like everybody has completely lost their shit, and they are completely terrified. And it's probably because they were leveraged in bad positions, right? I mean, I talk about, you know, exchanges, you know, from time to time in these videos, but you got to keep in mind, I mean, you know, there's serious risk here, and if you're not ready for it, then you will probably just lose all of your money. I mean, it's happened to me probably like 5 times, you know, where I just completely lost everything. I mean, we're talking, you know, this happened way back in like 2017, 2018 kind of years. So, you know, not now, like this was a long time ago, but, you know, if you're a beginner, then that's probably on your path at the beginning, right? That actually happens to a lot of people. So, you know, I think that there's a lot of kind of, you know, fear from people that just they were too deep into positions. This is, you know, this is the thing that you really got to keep in mind is, you know, when you start seeing green P&L screenshots everywhere and everything just looks like it's, you know, in mania phase and everybody's making money, like that's one thing and that's great. But, you know, if you do get sucked too deep into that FOMO, you know, eventually the market, I mean, you got to keep in mind, like it's almost like you've got waves in the ocean, right? And when there's a little bit of calm, you can play. But if you get too caught up in the play, if you get, you know, if you're too tunnel vision on what you're doing, when it's calm, you're not going to realize that there is a storm approaching you from behind. And that is precisely what's happened here in this market, I believe. You know, and I'm saying this as somebody who has seen this happen many times throughout my 7+ years of trading. Like I'm saying this as somebody who has actually literally seen all of these same puzzle pieces before many times. It only points to one thing, and so all of this just makes me feel even more confident that we're in a longer term bull market, because this is exactly the kind of stupidity that you see in early stages of bull markets, right? You know, because later on what happens is the altcoins don't stop, right? Like right now what's happening is, you know, things get shaken up a little bit and altcoins start dropping, you know, a week late after Bitcoin kind of thing, right? What's going to happen later on toward the end of the market cycle is the alts just won't drop. They're just they're just going to keep on going up and up and up, and it's going to be exponential. You know, at that time, it's going to be very crazy. You know, and obviously we're not there yet. So how can the market cycle be over? Like we're following all of the same footsteps of the market cycle that we typically follow, including the hesitation at the 10x. You know, at 100K for Bitcoin. I mean, to me, you know, we're just checking off all the same boxes that I would want to see by default. So, look, I can see why people are bringing some bearish narratives into play, but I firmly disagree. I just don't see it yet. So I'll be keeping you guys updated, telling you what I'm seeing. I did mention that link position. You know, that's obviously, you know, completely out of play now. I secured all of my profits. I think I entered, I don't know, probably somewhere about over here, and basically took profits right the way to the top. My all my take profits were at the top. It was actually really impressive. Just completely played this perfectly. I could show it to you guys, but I'll do it in the next video. I can't be bothered doing it right now. But there you go, ladies and gents. I really hope you have enjoyed this video. You know what to do if you have. Hit up those likes, subscribe, tick the bell, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.